Hello, it's nice to see you made it to our site. My name is Garth Holman, a middle school teacher at Beechwood City Schools, and this is.
Mike Pennington, 7th grade social studies teacher at Chardon Local Schools.
And what we'd like to do for you today in about 5 minutes or less is kind of give you an overview of our vision, what we're trying to accomplish, and then a couple of examples of how Mike and I are collaborating between our two schools. So without further ado, we'll start here with the vision. First and foremost, as teachers, our task is not to fill students with facts through a series of rote memorization and regurgitation over the course of 12 years. It is not our place to present historical fact, mathematical equations, or grammatical regulations, ignoring human endeavors and irregularity to meet the standards or conform to a multiple choice test. Teachers have an obligation to create students of integrity who will enter the adult world as free thinkers. Our students should leave our classroom better people, willing and able to create real change in the world around them. Students must be taught how history affects the present. Life does not occur in a vacuum, yet too often textbooks and teachers categorize and isolate their lessons, ignoring everything outside the classroom. Concrete thinking skills must be honed and then used to develop abstract thinking skills. Students must be allowed the freedom to construct knowledge, apply what they have learned to the world around them, and then disseminate that knowledge in a manner congruent with the digital paradigm in which they live.
Collaboration, technology, and personal reflection must be combined with new methodology and standards-driven curriculum to create a problem-based, inquiry learning environment. Our job is to create thinkers, leaders, and problem solvers. As educators, our responsibility to stay ahead of the digital natives who enter our classrooms. Students must develop critical thinking, learning, and study skills that take them beyond the classroom. Creating a new learning environment will produce more intelligent people. More intelligent people can stimulate industry and innovation, drive the economy, and change the world. Only through hard work and risk-taking are such goals possible. The ends justify the means. But to accomplish such goals, one must concentrate on the journey, not the destination.
Over the last 2 years, Mike and I have found a variety of ways to collaborate via distance through technology. One of the ways we've used most frequently has been Skype. Skype is a video conferencing system where we can call into Mike's class in Chardon, and then using Google Docs, we have been able to present information over the web to his students. We've done this as an introduction, as a review, as test prep, and as well as just conversation about topics we are studying. The following clip is about 30 seconds from a Skype lesson where Beechwood students introduced the next unit of study to Mike's students in Chardon.
Hey, hello, hi. We're just gonna do a quick PowerPoint on the introduction to the Renaissance.
Okay, the first slide is about trade after the Middle Ages. It increased in Italy after the Middle Ages.
And since there is a rise of a new middle class, people...
So Teddy, can I ask you a question to clarify? If they needed to understand currency, what did people have to start learning in Italy and the rest of Europe? How to read and what else? Tell them, not me. I know the answer.
And since bankers needed to learn about currency, they needed to have education to read, and since to have education, they had a printing press, which will...
As you could see in that Skype lesson, students were able to interact with each other. But what made that really exciting was the use of Google Docs. And Mike, I think I'll talk a little bit about the use of Google Docs.
Google Docs is a great online tool. It's absolutely free, and it allows you to store documents, Word documents, spreadsheets. You can actually create forms, questionnaires, and multiple people can go in and edit those documents from anywhere in the world with an internet access. So one of the great things that we did at Chardon was at Beechwood, while Garth's kids were reviewing the year, some of the bigger points of some of the lessons that they've learned, kind of a year-end review, my students at Chardon were sitting there watching what they were doing, watching their Google Docs as it was created live. My kids were then going to the textbook, going to their notes, and finding important information, facts, key points that Garth's students were missing. My kids then collected those on index cards, and we called Garth's class using Skype, and those students would stand up and say, hey, you know, I was looking at what you were talking about in India, and you missed this enduring impact, or you forgot to talk about this part of the culture. It was great because the students really had no idea why we were able to know what they hadn't done, and it gave the kids just another great way to interact with each other and collaborate on what they had learned throughout the year.
Mike and I started 4 years ago an online textbook in Wiki. Wiki stands for Quick, and it is an online format where you can edit text over time, and other people can sign in and edit text or add to it. The book we started, we decided we would take our Ohio standards and build our own textbook that was student created. The first 2 years we did this, it was Beechwood students on their own, kind of writing an outline and a rough draft. And by the second year, we began to edit that more and add more links. And by the third year, Mike's classes in Chardon were involved editing, adding text, adding PowerPoints, adding podcasts, adding YouTube video. So they were able to create online their own textbook that they will be using this year. And at the end of the year, Mike and I will have our students again go back and edit, revise, and change that book.
So the work with Google Docs, Skype, and the online wiki textbook have really coalesced into what Garth and I are trying to attempt this year, and that's keeping our classes running on the same website. So we're using a site called 7aworldhistory.com, and we both have blog posts on that site. Not only can Garth and I keep track of what each other are doing in their classes, but our students can actually see what students at the other building are learning at this time.
What Mike and I are doing is trying new things. Dr. Marquardt at our Board of Education meeting over the summer used the following quote from the Association of Supervision and Curriculum. And they made the statement that schools and teachers must be challenged to use the tools and techniques of today, not the ones of the past. Mike and I looked at education, and through the support of our school districts, our administration, we have been able to try to find ways to challenge traditional teaching methods and trying to bring more problem-based learning, more inquiry learning, and more technology into the classroom to engage kids in the learning of history.
We appreciate you taking the time to listen to some of the things that Garth and I are trying. I know it's hard in a 5-minute presentation to kind of get into depth on everything we're doing. If you'd like more information about anything, or if there's someone in your school district that you think might like to collaborate with us, we're always looking to collaborate with more classrooms. Our emails are scrolling on the screen, and Jennifer Schwella can also have that information for you, or either one of our superintendents from Beechwood or Chardon. Once again, we appreciate you listening, and we hope that we've given you some great information, some great things to take back and share with your teachers.